Okay, Juan, for my typeface, for my design, use a cool color scheme. Interesting choice. We'll talk about that in a second. I use the same typeface with different fonts. I don't understand that comment. I'd like you to clarify that. I use the same typeface but with different fonts. What do you mean by that? I make the first letter of each bigger, each time bigger than the rest. That's interesting. Those are differences in scale. And try to remember to use vocabulary that we've been learning. So making the first letter of image bigger and different than the rest of them, that is, you're creating contrasts based on scale. That means you're making it bigger, making it different than the others. So it's basically the same thing you're saying, but just using the vocabulary that we've been learning. No, I encourage you to start using that vocabulary. As a designer, you should be speaking the vocabulary that is inherent in the industry. So the sooner you get practice, with that vocabulary, the better. So you might as well start while you're a student, right? Outlines were used in the second line of each to create contrast in the text and make it pop. And I'll address that too. I also want to make a gradient background using the same cool color scheme. All right, background looks great. Color scheme's great. I love it. I think it's fantastic. You're using three different typefaces, which is fine. I think that the scale is different. I think the scale is interesting where you've created these contrasts in scale by increasing the size of the W, and I think that's interesting. I think it creates a nice left margin here, so we're always anchored, so the eye always goes back there where the next line begins. So that's a really good tactic right there. The actual adding a stroke, that's the outline here, the blue outline, that's actually working against you. And in typography, it's always recommended that you don't outline your letters or add a stroke, it's called. The reason being is because it actually changes the shapes of the letters. And though you would think intuitively that it would make the type more visible and more readable, it doesn't. And we can see areas like right here. See where that right there, it turns into one solid line, and right there it turns into the darker blue. That's all because the stroke actually changes the shapes of the letter. So I do not recommend stroking those letter forms right there. If you want to increase visibility, lighten the hue a little bit. Create more contrast with the color of the type and the background. You can even go to white type there, and that will be very, very legible. I believe these should be commas right here. I don't even think they're needed. I think that it's a phrase. I don't think we need commas. Oh, I see what you think, comma, you become. Oh, okay, I see. I get it now. All right, so those are fine then. Okay, as far as this typeface right here, this all cap typeface, it is really, really difficult to read. And it's a decorative typeface, and I think with maybe one or two words it's fine, but to try to use it in typographic composition, I think you're just asking too much of the viewer to really read. It's really difficult to read. One of the reasons it's so difficult to read is because of the extremely high X height, as well as the fact that these letters are turned together so tightly that they're starting to create shapes as opposed to letter forms. I would recommend using a different typeface here, something that is not an all cap, something that you can create lowercase letters. I think it would be much easier to read there. Okay. Other than that, I think that this is nice and left. This is left align. You become, you attract, and you create. I'm so glad you didn't just center align that, and I'm really glad that this whole composition isn't center aligned because I think it's really dynamic the way it is. All right. So good job. And if you have any questions, those would be my recommendations. I'd like to see those changes moving into your final composition. And if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. All right. Good job, Juan. Thank you.